What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Estate of Mind. I'm Mike, and as with always, I'm here with my trusty co-agent, the Kai Guy.
Hey, how are you?
What's up, Kyle? So today we are going to talk about
The daily life of a real estate agent.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
That's right.
So this is this is gonna be fun, and I hope you enjoyed the improved quality. We kind of took what we saw from our last podcast, and we're gonna try to improve every week. This is new to us. Kyle's very nervous and scared. It's fun. It's great. I love it. But all right, let's get to the topic at hand: the daily life of real estate agents or realtors. So, like, off the top of your head, quick, just name a couple things that, like, a real estate agent or a realtor would do on a daily basis.
So obviously probably 80-90% of the time it's lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure you stay up to date with your current leads, see what they're up to, trying to find new leads, whether you pay for subscriptions or whatever. Then you got to look at your inventory. You're going to have a focus on a market that you want to be in, and you're going to want to make sure you have an understanding of price of the properties, what some properties offer, if a property expired, a property coming onto the market in a couple of days, things like that. You want to understand your inventory. So if it comes time for a listing appointment, you can go ahead and be like, look, these are some comps in the area. And then from there, you also have keeping up with real estate trends, mortgage rates, things like that. Those are more minor, depending on like your situation. If you have someone that's looking to buy, you're obviously going to look into mortgage rates. But again, consult your local mortgage lender there to get accurate information. But you know, you got to stay up to date with the current trends, the current market, in order to be able to relay the information back to everybody.
Right, and it's important to know whether it's like a buyer or seller's market or anything, so that you know how to price your friends' listings correctly.
That's right.
So, no, that's very good, and that's an interesting tidbit, and it's very true. I mean, that's basically what we do all day, every day, unless we're showing houses. So me and you come from completely different day-to-day activities because you work in the office and I get to work from home, at least for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So, tell us what your day-to-day is, because I don't sit there watching you every day.
Yeah, so again, I'm an assistant to the broker, and aside from doing, whatever they need help with in the office, I'm sitting there working on myself too. Whether it's looking for potential marketing campaigns I can do, there's times where I'll look up postcard mailings or flyer mailings and try and come up with ideas for brochures or whatever and figure out where I want to hit. Ideally right now I want to stay within my neighborhood, a couple miles and whatnot, just to keep a little bit of a foundation there, get my name out. But I'm also trying to get more leads. So for me, we have this platform that the company pays for that gives us leads. Some of them are great, some of them aren't.
Yeah.
We both had those experiences. And it's a matter of, okay, well, I got this lead. Let me get in contact with them. Okay, got in contact with them. Now what? They want to go see the property. All right, well, how do I do that? Let me schedule the appointment. Let me get all the listing information. Let me get whatever other paperwork I might need ready for the showing. And if the showing's the same day, then it's a matter of, okay, let me get some notes. Let me see if I can contact the agent, figure out some information there, and go show the property. Other times, and during the office, I'm sitting up at the front desk and people call in, I answer the phone, or people walk through the door and I'll talk to them. It's just like a normal receptionist job, except you can get potential leads. It kind of sounds boring in the grand scheme of things, but it's really not. So with real estate, you constantly have to invest in yourself because, again, you're your own independent contractor. You own your own business. You're your own brand. You work for a company, but you're your own brand in this company.
And you're in like a weird spot because, one, you're helping somebody else who already has an established brand.
Yeah.
And on top of that, making your own brand, finding your own leads, doing your own thing.
Yeah.
And answering the phones and making
right,
the phone calls and talking to people that walk into the door.
Yeah. So for me, I'm always trying to figure out ways to invest in myself, whether that's trying to contact expired listings or for sale by owners, my apartment complex, things like that. Like, I'm always trying to contact people because at the end of the day, it's your sphere of influence. It's going to help you get your name out there, and it's that lead generation part.
Yeah. So, my day-to-day is a little bit different. I wake up probably the same time as you, like 8:15.
Yep.
And, I kind of plan my day, get my day ready. I drink my coffee. I sit down at my work desk, and I kind of plan out who I'm going to call, what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, if I got to send more people listings or anything like that, because no one's going to answer the phone at like 8, 9, up to like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Especially if they're at work.
Yeah, right. They're either getting ready to work, going to work, just getting to work, or they're just trying to establish themselves in the day. They haven't got to that point where they're like, all right, now it's just like, let me make my money and I can answer phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually wait till like 10:30, 11 o'clock to start making my phone calls. And the first phone calls I make are to catch up with my active leads. So everybody that's immediately returning my information. And then I go down the list to my less active leads. And then eventually I get to like the bottom of the leads where I send up that follow-up email if they're not answering my calls, just to say like, hey, just want to see if everything's still going well, this, that, the other thing. And then it's, I go into MLS and I look to see the expired listings, if I can make any phone calls to that, because sometimes it's kind of hard because you don't want to talk to the old agent, about like why that house didn't sell. Sometimes they're really nice. I've actually gotten a few, phone calls. I mean, granted, the agent must have sucked so bad because the people just didn't want to list their house again. And then, so I would go through that, call the owners, and then I go to the for sale by owners. Haven't mastered that one yet. Some of those people are really weird, the for sale by owners. If you're selling your house by yourself, sorry. Some of you guys are just, they want to like ask me all the information. Like I tell my real estate agent, and they'll try to get all the information they can out of me. Like I'm just giving them information for free. And I'm willing to work with these people. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, like I'm willing to work with them and tell them the things that they're doing right and doing wrong. But they're like, I want all of your services, and I don't want to pay you anything. It's like you go to an attorney, you're like, I want you to represent me so I don't go to prison, but I don't want to pay you. Yep. So I get that, and then usually by like 2 or 3, the people that haven't gotten back to me immediately start coming back to me. In between there, sprinkling some lead calls, and then I'm setting up showings. I try to set up my showings on like the same day basis. Never works out perfectly, but I always try to, because I'm down here Tuesdays and Wednesdays or Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I like to set up down there. Like tomorrow I got my showings, which will be nice. And then I just get ready to go. So like what's your like game day ritual, like your showing ritual? Like when you're showing a place, is there anything you do differently than what you do normally, or no?
Honestly, no. It's just, print out the listing papers, one for me, one for the client, and look over the agent side of the form, the listing, and okay, well, this had a price decrease of $50 within the last 2 days, something like that. And then from there, I might, if I know I'm going to a place that's full of condos or apartments, I'll look and see what else is available. Typically, there's going to be more than one available, especially during certain times of the year. And from there, I'll print out a couple extra properties that are available and be like, look, these are just some of the others that are available in this area, this development or neighborhood. Would you want to go see these? And if they say yes, then okay, well, some of them, if they're vacant, it's confirmed automatically.
Right.
If they're not vacant, then you might say, okay, well, let me put in the request, and maybe tomorrow we can go. I'll let you know.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just make sure I have my game face on when I'm there, make sure I'm nice, and try to be as professional as I can. Try and be as helpful as I can. Obviously, they're going to ask us questions that we simply won't know the answer to, and the listing agent might not even know the answer to. And that's when you don't want to say, I don't know that answer, and just leave it at that. You kind of want to say, it's a good question. I would like to find that out for you. Let me get in contact with the listing agent, and then start taking notes of some things that they have questions about or concerns about, and that's what you have to try and relay back to the listing agent. Now, sometimes you don't want to lay it all on the listing agent at once. You got to space it out a little bit, especially if they're serious about putting in an offer. You don't want to just be like, hey, this, and this. You got to kind of space it out. That way it doesn't seem like this tenant's going to be a huge pain to the landlord. And then otherwise, it's just you follow them around the property enough to make sure that they're not going to damage personal property or steal personal property. You're there if they have a question, you're able to listen. But at the same time, you don't want to follow them around and have them feel like you're breathing down their neck. That's not what this is about. You want them to visualize the space as their own and make sure that they're comfortable in that space. And then when they're all done looking at the property, like, do you have any questions that they might not have asked before? this is the process of going through
Right.
a transaction like this, and you know, what are your overall thoughts? Okay, you know, you might say, I really like this property. I'll consider putting in an offer. Or they might say, I know there's others. Let me go look at it. And again, that's
Right.
when you come back and you say, okay, well, here's a couple others. You know, there's also more. I just didn't bring them all because there's a lot or
Right.
something like that. And you go from there. You know, then you got to stay following up with them, emails, phone calls, texts, whatever it is. Send them over the listings and then let them look it over and have them get back to you. Otherwise, you know, it's just pretty much like meeting someone new every time you go out with somebody. And
That's my favorite part of the job, though, is getting to meet
Build
all
the
the different
relationships,
people.
yeah.
I mean, even the bad people that I've met, like I've met with some people and they're just terrible humans, but other people you meet, you're like, you're so nice.
yeah,
Like, why are you so confused? But I like it. Like,
Exactly.
let me work with you because you're awesome. But I mean, that's so very true. I mean, my game day process is a little different since I'm commuting here, and I get stuck here. You get stuck with me for an extra day.
Yep.
But I get there, I get ready to go. I give them their listing. I get the CIS report, get them all, so everybody's staying within legal contention. And I walk in the door and I just tell them, like, look, like, I'll walk with you. I'll stay here, like, whatever you want. I just want you to just get a view of this, get a view of the space first, and then I'll walk you through after you've given your own view, and I'll show you some things, and then at the end I'll ask, same thing. Is there any questions? Do you really like this place? Do you want to make a move on this? Like the house I'm showing tomorrow is pretty popular, so I'll tell them, like, look, if this is the place you want, I'm not here to force you to do anything here, but if this is the place, you should probably make a move on it because there's a process. Tomorrow's a rental, so you have to go through all like the NTNs and all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll get into that in later episode here.
So I mean, you have to go through all that process, but sometimes when you just get the ball rolling, it's better than nothing. I mean, the one buyer showing that I went to that wasn't a fluke with a no call no show. They were really cool, but they didn't like how the house looked. They loved how the pictures looked, like when I sent them to MLS. But it was like, it must have been like the perfect conditions of everything. Like the lighting was good, everything was great, and they got in the house and they're like, yeah, it just doesn't look like the pictures. I wanted the house to look like the pictures.
Let's make a disclaimer here. Don't listen to the pictures. Make sure you go see the property yourself. Pictures can be very deceiving, and there's this thing called Photoshop. Not that, agents Photoshop these pictures, but obviously in order to sell the property, they have it on these listing services or Realtor.com, and they have, the pictures are enhanced, so you got to go see it firsthand and make sure that you can actually visualize it.
I mean, and the people were really nice about it. They knew it wasn't my fault or anything. So, and they liked how I represented myself and everything. So, they want to continue working with me. Granted, they haven't found another house that they liked, so they're kind of just on, the back burners, I guess, so to speak, because I keep sending them listings. They just can't get anything that really resonates with them. So we'll see how that goes. But right now, I'm good with buyers and rentals. I mean, I'd love to get a seller here, but one day at a time.
Build that foundation.
That's right. Build the foundation. That's exactly.
So let me ask you this: what are some fears or struggles you put up with every single day?
Oh, dude, the no call no shows. That's a nightmare. I just had one last week. I was telling you, I was sitting there, and everything's good. I call them the day before. They say everything's good. You get there, you're sitting there waiting, nothing's happening. You're like, Jesus. You wait to 15 minutes. Like, I always schedule my showings for at least a half an hour because I know, there's traffic, life, all that stuff. So I give them the extra 15. So I waited 15 minutes. I gave them a call, no answer. I'm like, oh, great. Well, maybe they just can answer the phone. And then, the half an hour goes by. I'm like, dude, I sat here for half an hour. I could have left the first 15 minutes. But, you always want to give the people the benefit of the doubt. Like, I would really be mad if I left and then they showed up and they were late and it was a phone call would have been nice, but still.
You gave them a chance, though, too.
Yeah, so that's bad. My other one is when the people are so interested in something and they're like, all right, like, let's do it. Let's make a move on it. You're like, okay, let's schedule a showing for Tuesday. Maybe not Tuesday. I'm like, all right, well, what about Thursday? Thursday would be good if you could do it before, 7 in the morning. Like, no listing is going to, no one's going to let you in their house at 7 in the morning, vacant or not. And then they're like, or can we do it Sunday night at 10 o'clock at night? Like, that's the time you really want to do it, Sunday night at 10 o'clock at night. And, of course, the houses they want to see are, like they're not vacant, so the people are living there. And it's like, no, you can't do that. And then they get mad at you, like you're the one that can't do it. Like you're the one asking for the weird times. Like you can ask for any time during the weekend, like a normal time. And the weekdays we work pretty well with people. I mean, we've shown houses at 6, 7. I think I was even planning to show a house at 8, and then the guy like backed out. So
I mean it is part of the industry though.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you do have to be a little self-conscious on that,
Yeah.
and just realize, not self-conscious, but aware of what's going on there.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, as an agent, we're here to represent you.
Mm-hmm.
You make us mad or
Right.
annoy, like maybe, not to say that we personally wouldn't,
Yeah.
but some agents would react that way and be like, oh, well, I'm going to drop you, or I'm not going
Right.
to give you my all, or
Right.
I'm just going to do this to get the money in the
Or
room.
you do it at these weird times, and the people that you're trying to buy the house from or rent the house from are like, dude, like, why? Like, why 10 o'clock? That's so weird. I don't want to deal with you.
And now we understand that you have work or other obligations during the day.
yeah.
That's normal, but it's also the fact that,
Right.
we have lives too. We're
Yeah.
not, yes, we work on commission and everything, and we're motivated to sell and find you a home and get this transaction over with to help you out, but we're also people as well.
Yeah.
Like, there's a line between, willing to put ourselves out there
Right.
certain times of the day, but then also we want to live our lives too.
Yeah.
We don't want to be super dependent, especially since some people can be flaky and
Yeah.
just dodge everything or
And
not
then
even
there's
let you know.
and then the way I look at it too is like there's a safety concern. Like after a certain time, I just don't want to show people houses because one, it's just dark. Like one, you're gonna see the house just with the lights on. Two, like you just feel unsafe. And three, you're meeting somebody that sometimes by
You don't know
some
who they are
chance
either.
you never really met them, or you met them once and they seemed okay, and then you come out of your meet at night like. It's just a
Exactly.
little, like, for me, it's the safety aspect.
Yeah.
And then the before 7 o'clock, like, trying to schedule one, like, if I call the other agent and it's not in our, like, listing
yeah.
office, they're going to be like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, even if the house is vacant, they're like, no. It's like 8. They usually have the list from, like, 8 to 8. So, I mean, but I've had more people than not that are, they're willing to work with me, so I work with them. Like they're like, I don't work till 6, so I won't be able to see the house till 7. So that's fine.
It's
like, that works.
compromises is what it all comes down to.
Right.
And I guess for me, one of my struggles is to have the confidence to know what I need to say. I like to know as much as I can about the process or the property, whatever it might be, because I don't want to mislead you. I'm here for you. I want to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Obviously, a lot of the times it's out of your control.
Right.
But I want to make sure that I have the confidence and that I know what I'm talking about, or I can supply you with the right kind of information so that way you feel more comfortable and build that trust in me. At the end of the day, it comes down to, depends how you look at it, but it comes down to relationship building. And are you a person that they can trust, or are you a person that's just there for the money? And me personally, I'm more of a person that wants to be there for the trust.
Right. Yeah. Like, there's definitely people, I mean, we've seen agents in our time that are literally here for the money, and they're just like, I will tell you the good things that you want to know so I can get my paycheck. And I mean, granted, there are some successful ones, but I mean, the majority of the people that we know, even if they are a bit stiff on their requirements, like we know people that will only show blank kind of house or blank kind of this or blank kind of that. But at the end of the day, they still, they still want to get to know you. They still talk to you. They still, they still email you every now and then, give you a call to see how you're doing. And it's those people there that I see that are the most successful at it. And it's getting to that point. But, the groundswell, you got to start somewhere. And that's, that's kind of where we are. Like, I think we're at not at the very beginning, but we're at that cusp of graduating from never seen a real estate transaction ever before in my life to okay, like now the balls are rolling.
Learning a little bit of lingo and everything.
Yeah, like now the balls are rolling. I feel a little bit more comfortable in my shoes.
You're able to build off that experience and help
Right.
it for the next one.
Right, and then be very helpful for the people. My final annoying thing is I had 3 leads for buyers, and I still have them in my CRM, and they were so interested in buying. And I'm like, okay, like let's schedule a showing. And they're like, okay. So this is my first one ever when I did it. And they were like, okay, well, I'll do a showing on Thursday. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's awesome. And then, so I called the office, and I don't think you were at the front desk. I don't know who it was, and I got a hold of Tony, and Tony was like, "Tell them to get pre-qualified before you do it." He's like, he's like, if you don't get them pre-qualified, like you don't know if they're gonna want to buy the house. Like they might just be there to window shop, and a lot of people do that. I've come to find out now that that's true. So I told them, I'm like, well, have you been pre-qualified, and how recently was it if you have, and if not, are you gonna do it before we see the house? And they're like, nah, I'm not gonna get pre-qualified. Well, I took Tony's advice, and I was like, well, I can't show you this house. Like, I know I'm still fresh into the business and all that stuff, but I'm not gonna,
You don't want to waste your time.
No, and I don't want to waste their time.
Yeah.
Like, what if they say, like, like, there's always the shot that you're like, yeah, none of the place is not for me, then it's just your time wasted. But what if they do love the house and come to find out that they're not qualified? Then you lose everything. You went, like, that's not, you can't salvage that because they're not prepared for it.
That's right.
So that really sucks. So pre-qualification is key, and make sure it's from a correct pre-qualified place because there's a lot of places that will, quote-unquote, pre-qualify you, and the number you get is not the number that actually represents their like financial means.
Yeah, and one of the best ways to get pre-qualified could be through your bank.
Yeah, right.
Easily. People tend to, if they hear, oh, I got it from this place, but it's not like a well-known name or anything, they might just say, no, we need it from a well-known name.
Yeah.
It's the trust factor.
Right, exactly. Or like a lot of people have stopped, like with Rocket Mortgage. I just read this probably yesterday, and they were like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's way off, like high or low. I don't know the math on how they do the whole thing, but now I see, I don't know how much it is in New Jersey, but they're like, you know what, we're gonna have to get you qualified another way. Like, I need proof. So then you go get to, you get like Rocket Mortgage, and then you go to your bank, and they make sure that the numbers are similar, to make it worth it for them.
Which means put in as accurate numbers as you can as possible, because you might really like a property that's over $100,000 that you can't afford.
Right.
And it might be your dream home, might be the perfect home, whatever. But the last thing you want to do is foreclose on it, and then your credit's damaged for 10 years, and then you can't even rent a place.
Right. Yeah, now you're in trouble. Now you got to dig a whole nother hole. You found your dream home. You couldn't afford it because you fudged the numbers. And then here you are, like you said, month, year, 2 years down the line, like, oh my God, I can't pay for this house anymore. I'm literally floating upside down in a lake, unable to breathe. And that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a pretty crazy world. But that's just stuff we deal with every day.
That's right.
Yeah, the no-call, no-shows, the flakes, the phone calls, the angry people. We didn't even touch on that.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we probably should really quick. Like, we're not terrible people. We're not aggressive, super aggressive people.
Right.
We have to be somewhat aggressive in this industry. And again, it's sales. Like, you have to be aggressive. But we don't want to be aggressive to where we make the people mad.
Right.
We want them to know who we are. We want to be a household name, so that way they might not be looking to move right now. Maybe in a year they will, but they want, we want our name to come out of their mouth.
Right.
That kind of thing. Like, we want to be aggressive enough that they know who we are, that they'll, you can't guarantee that they're going to come to you, but you can feel a good chance that they'll come to you.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
mean,
we want.
especially with our strategies. I mean, our backgrounds come from marketing, and then we both specialized in sports in some aspect of our thing. So, I mean, we really believe in more of the relationship-based, sales rather than like the shove it down your throat sales. I mean, like it works for some people, it just doesn't work for, my mindset. It doesn't work for your mentality. It's just not smart for us, not smart for us to do. But then you get the angry people. And I think we should really touch on this, if only briefly. We call the expired listings, and sometimes the people just didn't have a good experience with their former agent, or maybe their husband or wife, if they were, for sale by owners. And we kind of step into the boxing ring as soon as you give them the call and you tell them that, like, who you are and what you do. Some of them, they just hang up on you. I just call them back a few weeks later and see what happened. But some of them, they will literally take their day out on you. And if you don't have the right, like, head for it, like, you're screwed. Or if you're not prepared to just get yelled at for nothing you did.
Oh, it's the same with door knocking, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get called a lot of weird names.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of different words. that I didn't even know existed. But I mean, so if you're in that position where you're just waiting for a real estate agent to call you to lash out, just take a deep breath and remember, he's not the guy that possibly screwed you up or, messed up your house sale. He might be the one that's going to help fix it or make it better. So, I mean, but most agents are trained to, like,
sympathize and
just let it go.
Yeah.
Like, let it happen. Let them yell that, because once they're finished yelling, usually they're pretty civil about it. So, I've actually had somebody, a for sale by owner, freak out on me, hang up, like after he was done just yelling at me, hang up, and then he called back and apologized.
Nice.
So, it's really interesting.
Wow.
So.
All right, so you got any other final words here?
No,
Thoughts?
we covered a lot.
All right.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was all right. We survived. I hope you guys are getting staying interested in it, and I hope you get some good information out of this, just like we do.
And remember, we're growing as time goes on. We're new agents, and we're learning just as much as you are. We're just feeding off of our experiences, off of our stories that we hear and everything. So take what you want from it. We're here to help. We're part of the goal here is to make a real estate transaction be as smooth as possible, and that way you understand it. So if something comes up, it's like, oh well, they've talked about this before, or like I know I might know how to handle myself with something like this. Obviously, it's not, if something comes up, it's not going to be the best news in the world or whatever, but it's how you handle it yourself afterwards.
And good real estate agents want to guide and advise, like we were taught, and we want to teach you just as much as we know, so that you are prepared going into this and you don't get swindled by a smooth-talking psychopathic real estate agent, which I know we may have seen. Yeah,
they're out there.
So, as always, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter. Hit us with the reviews on was it iTunes and
so we're on iTunes, we're on SoundCloud, we're on YouTube, again Facebook, Twitter, and we're Google Play now too.
We're Google Play.
Oh
my God! So the Android people can.
That's right.
Can enjoy us now too.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So that's good. So what are we on Facebook and Twitter?
Facebook's Real Estate of Mind Podcast. Twitter's REM Podcast. YouTube is REM Podcast. SoundCloud, I'm just going to say it's the same thing. But iTunes and Google Play, we are Real Estate of Mind Podcast. Make sure you look for our logo, because there are a couple other ones with the same name. But we have the cool,
the
pixelated
cool
rocket ship, paper airplane logo.
We do. I love our logo.
And you know what? We're on the first page. As soon as you search Real Estate of Mind Podcast on iTunes, it used to be you had to scroll. But now we're on the first page.
Number
we're
one?
right there. Well, we're not number one, but we're right there.
All right. Well, very cool. I like it. So let's start reviewing. We'd love to hear what you have to say about our podcast. Leave us with some 5-star, 5 stars, so we get up there on the iTunes page, and maybe we can get a contest going or something after we get a few more reviews and stuff. Sound good?
That's right.
All right, let's leave it at that. So for Mike and Kyle here at Real Estate of Mind, later.
Deuces.